Alright, so where we were last time, actually the previous time, we were doing collision, and I was pretty happy with the collision, and we had oops, we had collision checking, and we were printing out explosion every time we hit the, and I found an animated explosion I liked, but it wasn't working out like I wanted, and so I was going to dump it. I ended up making fireworks, and that was fun. But in a dream, no, not really, sitting down looking at the code, I came up with an idea of how to make it work. And this is the code, and instead of typing everything and explaining it, I'm just going to explain it real quick, and you can look at the code. Because you see what I did, if we have a hit, which was over here, explosion, we check collision. Let me get this over here where we can see it. We're not doing it in check collision. We're doing it in up here at the top. Yes, okay, if we have a collision, check collision. If we have a collision, see if we can get everybody on here. Let's go down here to collision. If we have a collision, we're going to set this value that we set up here. It's a Boolean value, and I've got it set at false because we haven't been hit. We start the game, we haven't been hit. But if we have a collision, and we did all the collision, then we're going to set it to true. Alright, so then go back up here in our loop, and so as long as there's not a hit, we're going to display the enemy, we're going to check collision, and we're going to move the enemy. Alright? But if there is a hit, we're going to do an explosion. And in the explosion, well, I've got this up here, I don't need that. That's what I'm saying. I went round and round with this for quite a bit. And so we're not going to go through the whole thing. So, we got a hit, and we're having an explosion, and we're doing our for, and we're going to go through each angle, which will give us 8 little blips. And this piece here, the for, draws the circle, the first circle, draws each circle, and then it goes out. It increments by radius, and down here, what we're doing, we're incrementing the radius. Okay, now what we're doing, again, let's go back up here to in the loop. Okay, so as long as we have a hit, as long as this is true, we're doing the explosion. So every time we loop through our explosion, we are incrementing our radius. So that was a problem that I was having in the original explosion, is that we were looping through the incrementing the radius, and so it was freezing everything up, and I just didn't like that. And then it dawned on me how to stop it from freezing. And once we hit maximum radius, we're going to set the hit back to false, which will and radius back to 1 to start it over, which will put us back in here drawing this. Okay, but what I did also when we have a true hit is I moved the enemy. Okay, I made a previous X, a previous enemy X. So we got enemy X and got previous X. We had the enemy X up here incrementing, telling us where our explosion was going to start. But what was happening is it was moving around. Okay, so we're doing enemy X equals previous enemy, enemy Y equals previous enemy Y, and then we're going to set enemy X, we're going to set it off the screen. And we're going to set our enemy Y to a random location. Okay, alright, but this is while hit is true, so we're moving the enemy off the screen as long as hit is true. Once hit is changed back to false, after we finish our explosion, then we are going to start moving the enemy again and checking for collision. Okay, so here we go. And I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to shoot here in the middle. There we go. Cool. And you can see them. The explosions are going and the enemy disappears. Now then, we can, but see, we can still move around everywhere. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is pretty easy. What we want to do is change things up on. So we got the enemy exploding and disappearing, and everybody is still going. We're not freezing up our screen. Okay, so what we want to do, we don't want him exploding the minute we hit him. So we're going to change our hit counter. We're going to add a hit counter and count up how many times the enemy gets hit before he explodes. And we need a little bar across the top. I lost my pointer. We need a little bar across the top showing us how many hits, you know, that kind of stuff. But right now we've got the explosions going on, and I'm going to post this on GitHub so you can get the code and continue from there. So that's where we're at, and thanks for watching. And got to remember how to end this.